a little bit biased maybe, but this is just one of my favorite cars. Bigger is always better, right? Well, yes and no. Sometimes you want, sometimes you don't. But what if you need to ferry around a family of 7? Then perhaps this car today is the best one for your buck. Today we're taking a look at the new Kia Sorento Hybrid. And is this the car you want to buy? Let's find out. Today's episode is made possible by Sgcarmart Smart Loan. Sgcarmart Smart Loan is designed to save you time and money through a digitalized loan application via MyInfo for your used car purchase at below market interest rates. For a limited time only, get $500 cashback and a 6-month Kinto membership worth $1,200 when you apply for a loan today. To find out how much you can save when buying a used personal or private hire car, click on the link in the description below now. Now, starting off by the front, is this the EV9? Is this the Carnival? No, this is slightly smaller. This is Sorento, but now with these new lights up here, it comes in 2 trims, SX and SX Tech. If you go for the SX Tech, which is this one, you're gonna get these 4-stack LED lamps right here. The rest of the car is really brutal looking, very fierce. It's not gonna give you any niceties on the road. And that's what you'll see in the reverse mirror when this beast is behind you. Now up here, we also see the Kia badging in black. This one is just a special one-time done for their marketing. But if you want to, you can inquire from their after sales on how you can get this. And then you get this very nice full gloss black grille right here and a little silver down here. Now let's move on to the side. Now moving down by the side, the first thing you'll notice are these 17-inch alloy steel rims. These are available in both SX and SX Tech. Now there used to be a fiercer, nicer 18-inch rims, but for the sake of VES, they've downsized so you get better fuel economy. But also, what's the first thing you do when you buy a car? You probably change the tires. The stickers like this black and white design are also not gonna come with the car. It's gonna be an after sales package. And then you get a little step plate down here, roof racks on as standard, now onto the rear. First thing you'll notice is that the favorite Mustang lights of before are gone. Right now you still get this angled lights that kind of match the ones in front, and your signal lamps are these nice little frosted slats on the inside. I still prefer the Mustang. Another favorite feature is the hidden wiper up here. So your rear wiper is actually hidden inside the high mount brake light. Open up the power tailgate, which comes as standard, and you'll be faced with 179 liters worth of boot space, which meant that we couldn't put all 7 seats up and still have the anti-trolley length test and the luggage. But with the 1 seat down, you can of course pass the anti-trolley length test. If you compare this to the Skoda Kodiaq, the available boot size with the 3rd row up is almost half with the Kodiaq at 340 liters. Now let's check out the inside. The Kia Sorento Hybrid is priced from $262,000 to $272,000. The 1.6-litre turbocharged hybrid drivetrain produces a combined output of 212 brake horsepower and 366 Nm of torque. The 6-speed automatic transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km per hour in 9.3 seconds. The car has a claimed fuel consumption of 19.6 km per litre. For more details on the Kia Sorento Hybrid or any other car, head on to sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. So typically 5+2s are seen as a little bit troublesome to get into, but not so much for the Sorento. There's a step plate here even, so you can climb on to the rear pretty easily. Now this is going to be your leg space, but for a 5+2 SUV, you've got to make compromises. So even with the second row pulled all the way back, I am seated like this. It's kind of almost like that's pretty much the space you're gonna get. And I'm 1.75 meters tall, so this is my head space. And leg space is just, well, at least the seats are all the way back and I can still insert a finger or two in between the seats and the back bench. But it's not say a super comfortable space. So in terms of amenities, you're gonna find a speaker right here. However, curiously, I don't find a 3rd row aircon, which was one of the very strong points of the Sorento Hybrid before, and the Sorento Diesel Turbo Hybrid. Sorento Diesel Turbo. You are gonna find a 12-volt charger as well as your seat button. So if you are stuck in the rear, a little bit of claustrophobia, this, just one touch of a button, is gonna help set you free. Now over in the middle is where all your creature comforts start to return, starting with, in the SX Tech trim, a panoramic sunroof, which is not inside the SX trim. And over by here, you still see the ambient LED lighting of before, the fish scale lighting I like to call it, but right now it's been replaced with a single strip LED in front. This is now a relic of the past. However, very usable. You got a privacy sunshade to keep out the stairs as well as keep out the sun. Get a cup holder here as well, and then a grab bar right here. You get a 2-layer magazine holder, one netting and then one for like pieces of paper or your laptop. Very, very useful. USB-C fast charging for your rear passengers right through the seat. And if you feel like your front passenger is taking up too much space, you can just press this and move their seat. Down here, central aircon for your second row. Very useful. Unfortunately, it's not in the third row. 12-volt charger if you need to charge your bigger items. And then in the middle, it is a pull-out armrest. And because these are retractable seats, if there's nobody behind and you want a more comfortable angle, you could press this for a slightly more reclined angle. You're taking a long trip up to KL. If not, then if you're moving to the middle, this time it is a flat floor, so moving here is very comfortable. Your leg can fit right here, so 5 people in this is still going to be rather comfortable even for mid to long distances. Now let's check out the front. Now over by the cockpit of the Kia Sorento Hybrid, things are very familiar. It feels just like the pre-facelift one, albeit this is a little different. This is also a little bit different, your ambient lighting here. This, of course, the new dual function LED touchscreen that we first saw inside the Niro, the EV6. This really fantastic, and I like this driver-only option. You get a single-piece infotainment system and instrument cluster curved towards the driver, so things are very, very legible. You get your new, sleeker instrument cluster. You get your infotainment system that has wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, and then your auto-dimming rear view mirror, which feels a little bit lighter than even before. If you move down the rest of the cabin, I actually really missed when they had this design right here. It really felt like things went up a notch in terms of elegance. Now the rest of the cabin is a nice muted grey with black. There are some hard plastics, there are some soft touch material, but it feels like it cocoons you really well. And then with the panoramic sunroof, it just extends your reach. So it's like a hug that doesn't feel too tight at the same time. Then we move down here, it's a classic ventilated seats control, which really easy to touch. You don't have to delve through the screens to get your ventilated seats. One touch, you get ventilated or heated. Down here, wireless charging, 15 watt, but no active cooling. So together with wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, it might get rather hot. So for now, I am using USB-C charging. And there's this nice little option to switch between just power or power and USB. So perhaps if it's your friend's phone, plugging in for a quick charge, you don't want it to connect to the Android Auto, then there you go. So this sloping action right here also helps keep your phone right here so it doesn't fly all over the place if you are throwing this Sorento all about. Moving down here, you get the gear shift, spin to move, park, reverse, neutral, drive, a drive mode selector right here. So you get Sport, Eco and Smart. So Smart helps you decide. You don't have to shift between Eco and Sport. Based on your driving style, it will select a driving mode for you and present you with those kind of responses. Down here, 2 variable cup holders and a little tiny slot here for your keys, a little bit more here, and a big cubby space right here with this nice little level shelf, kind of like inside the Stinger. And then there's also here 2 little clips. So if you want to hold like your cash card or a little parking coupon, you can slot it in right here. So overall, a very functional space. There's even more cup holders down here. However, I do miss the old Sorento design where they have a couple of air cons right here. So you have 2 facing you that you can adjust, and then a further 2 that can be articulated in different directions. So whether you want it to blow 2 for your face and then a couple for your hands or a couple for your body, it was very, very customizable. But this new design looks sleek, it looks cool, it looks more in line with the rest of the Kia options. So not really too big of a complaint. Overall, I still really like the way this Kia Sorento looks, and it's really one of my favorite cars up to date so far. Down here, you also get brake auto hold with your electronic parking brake, and this is one of the key features that some cars with 360 cameras have that don't have this button. You want a button on the ready, so whenever you press, especially a car of this size like the Kia Sorento, you're raised, you're in a higher driving position, it's a little bit too boxy, a little bit of a blind spot. This helps you check all around you so you can navigate your tight corners, no problem. There's also hill descent control, but not really much that we need in Singapore. One last question, does this car drive as well as it looks? Only one way to find out. So, driving the Kia Sorento hybrid facelifted 1.6 turbo, what does it feel like? Well, it feels plush, it feels comfortable, it feels premium. This, a little bit biased maybe, but this is just one of my favorite cars ever since the 2021 2.2 turbo diesel. Those were fantastic. Those weren't fast, 0 to 100 in 9.2, I believe. This one, you get it's a little bit tweaked, your horsepower and your torque figures, but they're still rather high. I believe the torque is somewhere in the high 300s, and then your brake horsepower is just a touch over 200. And your 0 to 100 is also not anywhere near any faster. But remember that they changed down from a 2.2 turbo diesel to this, a 1.6 hybrid. This thing is 1.9 tons and it's powered by a 1.6 turbo petrol. And you're still getting some very respectable figures. Yesterday, for some context, I drove it back from Linky towards the office and Lonnie was as smooth as ever. And this is a run-in car, so your fuel consumption figures are relatively true. And I was seeing over 30 kilometers per liter. So that's what you can get highway driving. Over 30 kilometers per liter on something that weighs close to 1.9 tons, 7-seater. I call it 5+2, but Kia says this 4th generation is a full 7-seater. So that in itself is quite insane. There's one thing though, when you put the pedal to the metal, you kind of hear a little bit of that engine drone. It's not the most pleasing, especially when you're thinking of a car of this size, but it really does get the job done. Right now I'm in Eco, and when you floor it, you really do feel the verve. They're really pulling a lot of numbers out of this tiny engine, and I kind of like that. You kind of want your big engines, many cylinders, but still, to me, I'm really impressed by something that tiny size yet big power. It's kind of like a love-hate thing. People don't like this CLE 6353, whatever, that one is the new 2-liter plug-in hybrid. But to me, it's really quite mind-blowing how much 600 plus horsepower they've managed to pull out of that tiny engine. And to me, it's the same. This is innovation at its finest. In the previous turbo diesel, there was SX, SX Tech, and GT Tech. GT Tech was all-wheel drive, but this time there is only SX and SX Tech, and they're both front-wheel drive, and they both also have that smaller, tiny wheels. But that's a little bit to do with your VES rebate, because it doesn't look that good. It looks a little bit goofy, but because of VES, you're going to be saving a lot more. If they put on bigger wheels, they might have to price it maybe 5,000, 10,000 more. So that's something to think about, especially, which is good because after you buy it from the dealer, you take off your VES, you get your sticker price. What's the first thing most people are going to do? Change the wheels. So if you want to change it to something bigger, something that gives you less fuel consumption, you're already free to do so with a cheaper price. So when it comes to the Kia Sorento Hybrid 1.6, is it will buy, won't buy, or go try? Well, if you ask me, I think that this car is a will buy. This is a car that I feel it's the right balance of power, it's the right balance of plushness, it's the right balance of eco with its hybrid power. It's not too expensive. That's why I really like this car. And ever since the diesel, which back then it was something like 180, 170, you could get your hands on a 2.2 diesel. But that was with a 2.2 diesel's road tax, so that was quite an insane amount higher, even though it's a little bit more fun with its torque. But this time with a 1.6 hybrid, you're looking at something like $700 annually of road tax, in addition to the petrol savings that you're going to face. Like right now, I'm pulling some 18 kilometers, but we had a car idling when we're going on shoot, testing out the car. We do push the car quite a little bit, so I believe you could easily get 21, 22 kilometers per liter while driving this near 1.9 ton machine. Now, if you look at competitors, you're going to be thinking about, obviously, number one, the Hyundai Santa Fe. Now, that it's its direct competitor, but that is quite a little bit more expensive. And I feel like with the styling that they've gone with the Hyundai Santa Fe, they've gone for something more rugged, something more Jeep-ish. Kind of looks like a Rover. So I feel like in that regard, especially with the stylings left over from the pre-facelift that they didn't really change, this time the Sorento feels a little bit more upmarket. And in addition to the new UI UX right here, you see that you also see inside the Kia EV6. I think things look fantastic. This dual function light bar, the menus on the inside, wireless Android Auto, wireless charging. So if you're willing to look for something more rugged, then it's a little bit more for the Santa Fe, but for me, I would pick the Sorento. However, if you're looking at the other end, there's also a cheaper competitor, something that is about 230,000, I believe. That is the Skoda Kodiaq 1.5 mild hybrid. But it also comes with quite a bit less power. And if you ask me, I also feel like, as a whole, this Kia is a lot more refined. And if it's between the two, I think it really comes down to whether you're looking at value for your money or whether you're looking at wanting something just a little bit more nice, something a little bit to treat yourself with. And I think with a car like this, a refined drive like this, a refined cabin like this, something so comfortable, I would splash for this. And that's why this car for me is a will buy. So that's it for our review of the Kia Sorento Hybrid 1.6 SX Tech. What do you think? Do you agree with us? Do you disagree with us? Let us know down in the comments below, as well as any other feature that you would like to see us try or you'd like to ask us about. Leave it in the comments and I'll read every single one. Now, if you've made it this far, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any of our future uploads. And lastly, do follow us on TikTok for the fun stuff. We are at Sgcarmart. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Was EX, SX, and SX Tech. EX. There's SX. Sorry. In the really ease the mind. This would make me feel really happy if I had it. No, but what if you need to fetch a family fish scale lightings, as I like to call them,